Have you ever wondered if you could make it to the Premier League without any talent or experience? Step forward Ali Dia, a name linked to one of football's most bizarre and iconic stories. From a mysterious phone call from a football legend to a disastrous debut, get ready for a tale that would leave you scratching your head in disbelief. Our story begins in November 1996 at the Dell, the historic home of Southampton Football Club. The Saints, under the management of Graham Souness, are struggling to find their form in the Premier League and are dealing with many injuries within the squad. Grappling with the pressure of turning his team's fortunes around, Souness receives a mysterious phone call that might just change everything. The phone rings, breaking the silence of the room. Souness picks up, expecting another routine call from a scout or an agent, but the voice on the other end sends a ripple of excitement through the room. "Hello, this is George Weah. I recommend you sign my cousin, Ali Dia. He's a very good player." Souness listens intently, his mind racing with possibilities. George Weah, the legendary striker, hailed as the pride of African football, is endorsing a player for Southampton? Seems too good to be true. "Are you sure about this?" Souness asks cautiously. "Absolutely," the voice replies confidently. Ali Dia has played for Paris Saint-Germain and the Senegal national team, where he scored 2 goals last week. He's a talented player looking for an opportunity in England, and I believe he can make a difference for your team. Intrigued by the endorsement, Souness decides to take a chance and invites Ali Dia to come for a trial. If Weah believes in Dia, perhaps there's something special about him after all. And with that fateful phone call, the stage is set for one of the most audacious gambles in footballing history. Little did Souness know, he was about to become unwittingly entangled in a web of deception that would always be remembered in footballing folklore. Matchday arrives. There's a buzz of anticipation at the Dell. Southampton fans are eagerly awaiting the unveiling of their mysterious new signing, Ali Dia. As the squad is announced for the game against Leeds United, Ali Dia's name is on the list of subs. The game kicks off amidst a flurry of excitement, but as the minutes tick by, it becomes increasingly clear that something is wrong. Matt Le Tissier, Southampton's talismanic forward, who scored 209 goals in 540 appearances for the Saints, goes down injured, prompting Souness to turn to his bench, which was full of centre-halves and fullbacks, for a replacement. And then, in a moment that would go down in footballing history, Ali Dia is summoned from the sidelines. Southampton's new number 33 steps up, clad in the iconic red and white stripes and a shirt that is much too big for him, and he sprints onto the pitch to make his Premier League debut. Within minutes of Ali Dia coming on, his teammate Eyal Berkovic bursts forward from the halfway line to the edge of the Leeds box and passes to Dia. He's on the right side of the penalty area and has 3 players waiting for him in the middle for a cross. Dia instead decides to go for a goal. He hits the target, but in the end it was a pretty simple save for Leeds goalkeeper Nigel Martin. This was to be the only highlight of Dia's game, stumbling and fumbling his way around the pitch, seemingly lacking even the most basic footballing skills. He raced around the pitch as if he didn't know what position he was supposed to play in, and seemed to have the marvellous knack of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whenever he received the ball from a teammate, his touch was terrible, almost immediately losing the ball again. As Matt Le Tissier put it,
"He ran around the pitch like Bambi on ice. It was very, very embarrassing to watch."
As Dia struggled to make an impact, the frustration among the Southampton faithful grew. With each misplaced pass and clumsy tackle, Dia's credibility crumbled before the eyes of the watching world. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. He was absolutely hopeless. And with that, just 53 minutes into his debut, Dia's moment of humiliation was complete. Graham Souness subbed him off in the 85th minute. The damage was done and Leeds went on to win 2-0. This game was to be Dia's one and only Premier League appearance. As the Southampton team turned up for training on Monday morning, there was no sign of their new Senegalese signing. He checked out of his hotel room, never paid the bill, and simply disappeared. Dia's Southampton adventure was short-lived. Just 14 days into his contract, the truth started to emerge. Dia was in fact not Weah's cousin. George Weah had never even heard of him, nor had he achieved any of the footballing feats attributed to him. He never played for PSG and certainly never scored any goals for the Senegal national team. He did, however, play in France, just not for PSG as was mentioned on the phone call. Instead, he played for Saint-Quentin, a club playing in the 4th division. The same stunt had been attempted at other clubs before Southampton, including Gillingham and West Ham United, but they saw through the ruse. Harry Redknapp, then West Ham manager, kept getting phone calls at the training ground from a guy calling himself George Weah. Redknapp spoke to this mystery man and asked him, "Lovely George, "You want to play for West Ham?" He said, "No, I have a player for you." Redknapp instantly thought this is a wind-up. Tony Pulis wasn't as wise though. He took Ali Dia on a trial before realizing the whole thing was a wind-up. He said, "I was shocked to receive a phone call from somebody claiming to be George Weah and recommending a friend of his. I wouldn't have thought that a man like Weah would have heard of Gillingham, but we gave the lad a trial and he was absolutely rubbish." Apparently Dia's shortcomings were very evident during his trial at Southampton. Matt Le Tissier went on to say,
"I actually thought that he'd won a competition to come and train with us, if I'm honest. And then when he turned up on the Saturday and he sat in the changing room, I'm thinking, wow, that's a pretty good competition. He's going to get with the team talking, isn't he?"
So how on earth did the Southampton manager fall for the bait? Well, it was a very different time back then. In the modern era, with internet records of every player available at the click of a mouse, it's unlikely that Dia's feats will ever be repeated. In the 1990s though, it was quite common to take a chance and invite players for short trials, to give them an opportunity to impress. Southampton had trialists all the time. In fact, that's how they signed Eyal Berkovic, who turned out to be a fantastic player for the club. Additionally, Southampton only had one fit forward player. Souness later explained,
"And anyone who's been involved in football, you would know in the first 5 minutes of a game, small side aside, if the boy can play or not. So within the first 5 minutes, on the Monday morning, we say, he ain't for us, he's hopeless. But we didn't have enough players to have an 8 aside. So we kept him for a week. As the week goes on, we had more and more people get injured. So we're now looking, I think it was Leeds United we were playing on the Saturday. And Matt was our only fit forward. And it's all Matt's fault, because Matt lasted about 20 minutes.
Which led to the perfect set of circumstances for this story to take place. So what eventually happened to Ali Dia? Well, this is where the plot thickens. As mysterious as how he burst onto the scene, it seemed he disappeared off of the face of the earth. Record shows that after leaving the Saints, he went on to join non-league Gateshead in the following December, where he actually managed to score on his debut. He scored another goal in the 8 games he played for the club before he was subsequently transfer listed in February. Gateshead, then owner, admitted that Dia was a highly likeable character. Despite the fans watching their £1,500 investment going down the pan, he was also a crowd favourite. He loved the fans singing his name, even when they were singing he would have a huge grin on his face. It is then reported that he enrolled at Northumbria University, graduating with a business degree in 2001. After this, he vanished. Eager to track him down, a Twitter page was set up to find the cult hero, and multiple sports websites launched investigations to find him, to discover more on this mysterious man, but he was nowhere to be found. After years of searching, Bleacher Report managed to get into contact with him. The man who had seemingly vanished off the face of the earth was alive and well, and actually living in London. He was also willing to tell his side of the story. Dia admitted that he was upset by how he was characterized by the media all those years. He said they portrayed him as a liar, and that was bullshit. He went on to tell them that he did actually play for PSG in the second tier between 1986 and 1988 and helped them win the Paris Cup. A friend of his then introduced him to a UK-based African agent who brought him into contact with Southampton. According to Dia, he then trained with the Saints for a month and a half. During a practice game against the first team, he managed to score 2 or 3 goals, after which Souness told him he earned his spot on the team sheet, telling him, "You are in for tomorrow and be ready." Next thing he knew, during the game against Leeds, Le Tissier had to come off injured and he ran onto the pitch without even warming up. He then finished the interview by saying that he has no regrets. He gave it his all and has a clear conscience. So, finally, after 20 years of being called football's greatest fraud, the man himself gave his side of the story. What do you make of his story? Was he as innocent as he claims to be? Or did he con his way to the Premier League on purpose? Let us know in the comment down below. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and hit the subscribe button to not miss out on the next video.